Let's get straight into it. Let's get stuck in. We're going to talk about the game on the weekend first. So, look, Spurs, it wasn't the greatest first half, but second half, we really blew Manchester United away. So we'll start with you, James. Do you think that Spurs really did deserve that win against Manchester United?
Yeah, I do, actually. One of the things that I found I was quite comfortable with, I haven't seen for a while, especially last season or two, is I always thought that goal was coming. And watching Tottenham against Man United, I can't remember the last time I think like that. It's normally like 30-40% possession and on the back foot and then hoping to spring an attack and a surprise. But I always saw that goal coming, which for me was so refreshing. So, yeah, I do think we did deserve that.
Interesting. Brian, are you in agreement?
Completely, totally and utterly. You have a few people saying that it was luck and we rode our luck in the first half and this and that. I don't care. We absolutely smashed them, and we totally deserved it. It was a wonderful performance. Yeah, the first half was a little bit iffy at times, but that's going to happen in a game of football. If you look at it overall, there was only one clear winner, and it's Tottenham Hotspur.
Sim, like the first half, I would say, like in my opinion, the first half. I mean, the second half definitely outweighed the first half performance. I think like we were a lot better than Man United than maybe Man United were to us in the first half, essentially.
Yeah, I think if you look over the chances overall, you can definitely say we rode our luck on a number of occasions with really bad missed chances for Man United. Bruno heading over when in all other situations he probably scores. Rashford went through and forced a good save of Vicario. Even in the second half, Anthony hit the post straight after we scored. Casemiro has a header which was a brilliant save of Vicario. So I think United, if you're looking at it from United's perspective, they'll probably look back at that match and be kicking themselves a bit there. At least they didn't get a goal, let alone a point in that game. So I think from Tottenham's perspective, I don't think we deserved a clean sheet. I think we were probably lucky not to concede. But I think just how we grew into the game, look, you can say United had the better of the first half as well, but we also had our chances. Porro hit the bar. Sarr had a chance. Sarr hit the post with a cross. He also had a chance in the box save from Onana. So we also had our chances when United were on top, and they had their chances when we were on top. So it was definitely an open game. It was definitely give and take. But I just think our good performances just outweighed anything United had to offer. No one on the pitch was as good as Bissouma. No one on the pitch was as good as Pape Sarr. Maddison was running rings around Casemiro. And I know, did United create good opportunities? Probably. But I don't think any United player really stood out on that pitch as playing really, really well and can really end that game saying they had a really great performance. I think the way that second half went, in terms of how we completely bullied them in their midfield, I think Ten Hag will be really disappointed with that. I think the football that we played in that second half was exceptional at times. And I think that we really gave United problems they couldn't answer. And yes, they had chances, but I actually think later in the game, when they were asking questions of us, trying to get back in the game, we just had all the answers. They couldn't break us down. They couldn't really create any opportunities. And it was Tottenham who finished the game far stronger. So were we a bit fortunate to win? I wouldn't say we're fortunate to win. I just think we were fortunate not to concede. I think that's how far I'd go.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And it kind of like you look at the performance of Yves Bissouma, like you say, the best player on the pitch. I mean, he made Casemiro, however many times Champions League winner, veteran of the game, absolutely world-class midfielder. He made him look like a schoolboy coming through the ranks at Manchester United, coming on for his debut or something. I mean, that's how much of a dominant performance it was from Yves Bissouma. But a couple of players that maybe didn't have the limelight like Bissouma did before the game coming into it were Vicario and Pape Sarr. James, I mean, how good was Vicario on that day?
Unbelievable. And I don't know if I'm the same as some of you guys, but he was the one person I was thinking, what have we done here a little bit? I must be completely honest.
Yeah,
I did buy into the Postecoglou thing of playing the way that he plays. I did watch a little bit of it at Celtic. But having Vicario as a keeper is one of the things I was worried about. And probably my biggest plus point from that game was them saves. Not just the confidence he gets from it, but just the skills that he got, that unbelievable. So yeah, he was incredible for me, and the best thing I took away from that. Yeah. Who was the other one you said about? Sorry,
Pape
Vicario.
Matar.
Oh yeah, incredible. Yeah, but another one is I wasn't expecting that. I was shocked with that. I did like the way he played a bit last season. I think like everybody else, he's playing with these shackles off. I think there's a video I've seen where he passes. He starts the move with Porro, doesn't he? He starts the whole move off. And that pass that he makes, and within 8 seconds from that pass, he's scored. And that is the whole Postecoglou thing, isn't it? Getting in the box. We saw it with Barcelona, with Skip getting into the box all the time. And he came out to say that, didn't he? The midfielders are told to always get in the box. Yeah. And that is what I love, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I mean, I touched on Casemiro before, but like, if you watched the game and had no clue about football, and you saw the performance of Pape Matar and Casemiro, I mean, Brian, which one would you have said what was the the one that won the Champions League 4 or 5 times?
You would have said the one wearing lily white without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, that performance, like we saw what he could do in Milan. Milan was a huge eye opener for people to see what he could do, being chucked in the deep end. And like many others, I was annoyed that he wasn't getting much more game time off that. When Skip and Højbjerg at the end definitely needed some rotation, he just wasn't getting the minutes. It's not. Do you know what? It's the run, like James mentioned, was incredible. But do you know what? That finish was not easy. That was not an easy finish, and for someone to put that away was outstanding. And he was just putting out fires left, right, and centre. Emerson came in for a lot of abuse or a lot of stick against Brentford for being caught on the right against Brentford. And people were saying, like, obviously, I don't think Ollie Skip was going back to cover the spot. Well, you saw Pape Matar when he came into the lineup. He was putting out fires left, right, and centre. He is an incredible talent, and I think he has to be in there for the foreseeable. Vicario, listen, Ben, you'll remember very clearly I had one of my many, not major, many major, let's put that together, meltdowns on We Are Tottenham TV when the Raya deal fell through. Even before we went on camera, I was spitting blood. I was going absolutely mad in the only way I can. And then, like I said, I saw a tweet which put me in my place. And it was when they said it, typical Tottenham fans, they want to go down the Brighton model. And then when we find a goalkeeper through data or whatever, we moan because it's the cheaper option. And I completely fell into that category, and put my hand up to it straight away when you and me did an update. What I do have to say is, obviously, when he came in, all pre-season, he played with different defence every single game. It was never the same defence. Romero was the one defender that we're going to rely on. He had 10 minutes with Van der Ven and Romero before Romero went off. And any doubt that people had would have been about his rash going out or a couple of things he did. But when it came to his proper ability at saving shots on goal, he did that wonderful save, like one of them against Shakhtar. And it was just a catalogue. You know, like when you see great goals from strikers like Gift Orban. Oh, look at all these great goals. Well, that was a compilation in itself, that performance. Any doubt people have about his actual shot stopping, agility, anything, surely that game has now silenced them, because that was one thing I didn't know is, how did he only get a 9? What did he have to do as a goalkeeper to get a 10? Score a goal? An assist?
An assist.
I don't get what would have got in the
Robinson.
Exactly. You got to channel your inner Paul Robinson.
That's what you got to do, because it was a wonderful performance, wasn't it?
Here's one thing I thought, though. Do you think that he was actually our first choice? Because a lot of people are sort of saying that. So they're saying that Raya wasn't even the first choice. So is he the cheaper option, or was he the first choice anyway? I mean, I don't know. But what do you guys think?
I mean, it's hard to ever know, isn't it? But in my opinion, all the noise that was coming out of the press is that we were pushing really hard for David Raya. Right. David Raya only wanted Spurs. He agreed personal terms with Spurs. So I do feel like Raya was the first choice, but we just didn't want to pay the 40 million, and then they just bend over backwards and let Arsenal have a loan deal, let them avoid FFP and all this stuff. So that really annoyed me. But after that one performance, I've completely bought into Vicario now. Completely.
Yeah, and there was a few other, like, not maybe myths, but things that going into this game were kind of not put to bed. There was like pushback on, for example, can Porro play right back? And like he coming into this game, you know, seeing the team sheet, a lot of people probably would have been worried about him in going into that game, especially because Emerson had such a good game against Brentford, and people wondering why is there even a need to take him out. But Porro, I thought, had a brilliant game, I think, overall as well. I thought he showed defensively that when he's on his game, he can definitely be very good defensively as well as having that effective offensive ability that he's shown in the Tottenham shirt. So that was a really good eye-opener as well, and maybe it makes people rethink what kind of player we have in Porro.
Yeah, I agree. I think he did have a ropey first half. I'm not going to lie, Porro. I thought that, you know, he got beaten a couple of times and did look a bit nervy, but I thought him with the rest of the team did really grow into that second half. I mean, Brian, you messaged me before the game. I think, no, you didn't even message me. I told you the lineup outside the Tottenham Stadium. You dropped down to your knees, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Why?
I did. We've spoken about this on many a time on your show and on other shows that I just don't think I hadn't thought he was a right back. I think he's much more useful to Tottenham as a right winger. And yeah, when you revealed the news out opposite the M bar, I did drop to money that, oh, here we go. But you know what? In the first half, it looked like it was coming down his right, or our right, sorry. But he wised up. I think it was his best performance as a right back for the club. And like I said, do I want to see him there again? Not really. I'd prefer him still to be a right winger. But if he is there, let's say against Bournemouth, against Burnley, whoever, I won't be dropping to my knees anymore thinking, oh no, I'll be a lot more upbeat. It was a good performance from him.
You got more trust in him now after that performance.
100%.
James, what's your feelings on Porro?
Well, Porro is quite similar to you guys. I was a little bit, I mean, I buy into Royale, but then again, that's 6 months before, I wasn't buying into that. I do. But one of the things I think that he's got, or that we've got, sorry, as a team that will improve Porro is we've now got a game, and then we've got a week to work on the training ground. We haven't got this European distraction. And I think that Porro buying into the Postecoglou era of tracking back, I think he'll be much better than he was last season. But yeah, I was a little bit the same as Brian. I was like, why change it? That bit was great. But he surprised me. And now, yeah, I just think we've got two pretty close there fighting for it. My one is still Royale, but I think Porro's great cover.
So would you say, like, I know you're saying Royale just slightly ahead. So would you say Royale comes back into the team then for you this weekend?
I think he will. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really understand it. I didn't think he made too many mistakes, but yeah, I think he'll come back in against Bournemouth. But then I don't know. I'm not going to question the big man. He's God. So already.
Engaged and he's God.
Maybe like in games where we're favourites in the game, we're asked. I know it didn't work out this way, but maybe in games where maybe at home games you start Porro when we're really asked to take the game to the other team, and maybe away games. Yeah, maybe in away games where we expect the other team to put it on us a little bit, we play more defensive, solid Emerson. I mean, it's good options to have, isn't it, Tim?
I think so. For me, I think Porro is just the better footballer, in my opinion. I think he's better. Like, his passing ability is better, his crossing's better. I think he's obviously in the final third, he's much better. And if we are going to be spending more time in the final third, in my opinion, he becomes a more useful player. Obviously, where he comes unstuck is obviously when he gets into one-on-one situations defensively. A lot of the time, he's proven to be a bit of a liability. I feel like his positioning defensively, especially when we're dealing with crosses in the box, I feel like he loses his man way too often. So those are definitely issues he's got to iron out. And he's still a young player, he's still 23. But if we can coach him to be a better defender, I do think he's going to end up being that first choice at right back, because I just think he offers so much more. I think Emerson is getting better a bit in those areas in the final third, but I just don't think he looks totally comfortable. I know he scored that great goal against Brentford, which was out of the blue, to be honest. Very unlike Emerson to do that. And I also think, obviously, we know defensively he's probably a better right back than Porro, albeit you would probably say Emerson actually had a bit more trouble on defensively against Brentford than Porro did against Man United. But I, for one, I just think that looking at them as a player for what Ange would want to make his system as effective as possible, I think Porro in the long term would be the better fit, in my opinion.